Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Ed. Today I'm making a different kind of video. We're comparing today Marathon and Riot and giving a little bit of an overview on Marathon and Riot overall. So for this video, what we're seeing here is a bit of a comparisons on the fundamentals overall. So in terms of the press release here, Marathon Digital Holdings Incorporation prices upside $650 million convertible senior notes offering. And you're able to see they offered around $650 million out of that, and mainly towards funding their all-over operations. We did talk about that, about how the notes and how the previous announcing offering increased from $500 million and the money that would generate. But first off, let's kind of give a comparison between Marathon and Riot. So Marathon and Riot, you're able to see that there is an increase in terms of Marathon's hash rates, and so is Riot's. But at the current point of stand of view, if we're talking about today, we're looking somewhere around roughly 3 EHs per second in terms of hash rate growth. Now, in terms of Riot at a glance, you're able to see somewhere around 2.8. Now, Riot is anticipating or trying to get by a certain point, and it does say here, it doesn't mention exactly when, but it does want to go to 8.6 EHs per second, and Marathon 13.3. So they're very comparable in terms of where they want to be. Now, in terms of just the general kind of levels, in terms of the stock itself and how they compare, they're very, very similar when it comes towards both. Here you're able to see as well how they compare each other in terms of developed capacity at the time. Riot sees itself as 3 times more value than Marathon. I'm pretty sure a different slide that showcases very similar information is found somewhere on Marathon's website. But on another side, Bitcoin of course has seen a bit of a dip, and that is one of the reasons why these both stocks might not be performing at a massive higher level. So that is something to keep going on as well, and we need to be very careful of as well. But overall, you're able to see that there's a regeneration or a re-emerging of another COVID variant, and that could actually play in the benefit of Bitcoin if companies or countries have to go somewhere to a controlled lockdown again and print a lot more money. A decentralized system might help Bitcoin's price in that way. Now, in terms of Marathon and Riot's fundamentals, so Marathon current price over sales is 54.4% or 54.4 multiples, and price over book is 7.64. In terms of price over book and price over sales for Riot, it's 31.72, and as well you're able to see price over book is 4.41. So you're able to see that Riot is somewhat undervalued, almost half as Marathon, but nonetheless these two companies itself are riding on a massive hype on price over sales and price over book. But in addition, that the price over sales and price over book keeps changing way too fast for these fundamentals to capture that. So for instance, the price over sales is a year lagging indicator based on TTM, last year's 10K. Price over book is quarter. So the price over book is more current than price over sales. Nonetheless, we kind of get an idea. Now, in terms of profitability, gross margins for Riot is around 66 or 62.62%. For Marathon, it's around 75.08 for gross margins. So you're able to see they have better gross margins. Operating margins, or let's do just net profit margins, 12.10% for Riot. In terms of Marathon, 57% less. So between Mara and Riot, it's an interesting difference. You can make your own conclusion. I don't want people to attack me, but anyway, management effectiveness. Return on assets. You're able to see for all return on assets, return on equity, and return on investments, they're generally around negative 15.10 to 20% in terms of management effectiveness. So negative 15.10, let's say that. Now, in terms of the management effectiveness for Riot, return on assets, return on equity, and a return on investment capital is around positive 3.12 to 3.7%. Now, institutional buyers. We're able to see some bullish returns, some bullish numbers for both of them, by the way, institutional buyers. So we're just going to disregard institutional buyers as we see kind of a similar level on both. But before moving on towards technical analysis and try to compare the two a little bit further, make sure to click the subscribe button and leave notifications on for this channel. Also, don't forget to drop a like to this video if you enjoyed it so far, and join our Discord if you would like to join this conversation or a Smartphone chat room. Now, let's move on towards technical analysis. From technical analysis, I'll try to compare these two more on a general level. So first off, on Marathon, you're able to see 10 SMA above 30 EMA getting dangerously close. The stock price is above 50 SMA and above the 200 SMA. So overall, cautiously bullish. You're able to see some trends over here. Basically, the MACD was negative, significantly negative, and currently is curving back upwards. So that's a bullish thing itself, is anticipating a bullish movement. William percent R, which is very similar to the RSI, is highly oversold, and momentum is currently at a negative point, negative 26.89. Not a good thing to see momentum going that way, but the MACD at least is curving upwards, and the moving average bands of the 50 SMA has been somewhat of a support for the stock. So overall, you're able to see somewhat of mixed news, but high volatility overall, and you're able to see a bit different news on Riot. So Riot is between the 10 SMA and the 30 EMA, something that Marathon wasn't. That's the trading action zone where most positive reversals occur. That's again between the 36.98 and 33.91. Price point is above the 50 SMA but below the 200 SMA, making this point against it actually, so a bit bearish. But overall, between the two moving average indicators, I would say it's a tie, because the other one had the 10 SMA almost touching the 30 EMA. Here, it's below the 200 SMA, but between the 10 SMA and 30 EMA. It might sound gibberish to you, but just know that they are basically on par with one another. Now, in terms of the willing percent R, this one is very close to oversold. By the way, this is similar to the RSI again. Very close to oversold, but not there yet. So there is more buy demand for Riot than there is Marathon based on just this indicator. Now, MACD doesn't show much kind of a volatility into this one at this level, so it's kind of trading just sideways, and momentum is less negative than it is for Marathon. So currently it's around -5. Other one was -36 in momentum, so you're able to see negative momentum is a lot stronger for Marathon, as you get to see here, than it is for Riot, and mainly because volatility appears to be a lot higher in volume for Marathon, at least from this kind of perspective. Now, in terms of things like stochastic fast and stochastic slow, we're able to see that Marathon is saying, well, this might be a good time to buy. I mean, we're able to see heads and shoulder. That's a bearish kind of trend, so be careful of that. But indicators on stochastic fast and stochastic slow suggest this might be a good time to buy. Now, similarly, you're not seeing much, or not similarly actually, in contrast, you're not seeing similar results from Riot. Riot hasn't really bottomed out yet, but it could be maybe a good time to trade. But you're not able to see something like this here that we've seen before, something like what we see for Marathon. So the two charts are different, and I would give this one to Marathon. Now, in terms of moving average bands, the Marathon expects to trade between 65.88 and 53.90 on the moving average bands, and the Bollinger bands between 77.79 and $42. Riot is actually within the moving average bands, and the moving average bands are going upwards. Both are bullish. 38.86 is the top of the moving average bands, and 31.79 is the bottom. Bollinger bands are between 43.53 and 27.12. In terms of the current significant supports and resistances, I'm going to skip Fibonacci retracements for the sake of the length of this video. Support on Marathon is 48.88, then 43.30 going down to 37.51, 32.66, and 30.41. Resistances 52.47 going to 56.89, and then 66.06, and upwards to around 77.33. Riot has much more supports at this point. 34.84 going down to 31.64, and then a little bit downwards to 27.96, 27.09, 24.86, 22.63. Resistances going upwards to a close point of around 36.48, and then 38.23, and then around 40.65 to 43.84, and then 47.72, and then around 51.88 and 56.49, and up to 57.70. Comes to the question to Ed, what do you think is going to happen here between the two, and what's your pick? Well, honestly, it's a little bit hard to choose. Marathon and Riot are edge to edge. Now, the stock in terms of volume, you're able to see that Marathon has reached its all-time high in the last couple of weeks. Riot hasn't. It actually received it back in February. So these two companies seem to have very similar charts, just at different time scales. So overall, I'm able to see that Riot currently cooled down a little. It's not on momentum and volume, but Marathon is. So if you're more caring about fundamentals, I think Riot might be a better choice. But if you're caring about momentum and volume and a quick buck, high risk, high rewards kind of stuff, Marathon might be it. What do you think here between the two? Make sure to down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like, and have a wonderful day. Now, if you're still here on this video, make sure to drop down below and join our Discord. We have a lot of different things going on, including, for instance, members that gives picks for free. It's not pump and dumps, we just things we think about, swings, etc. We also have really exciting bots. You can actually use those ones. For instance, we're just testing out this bot, for instance, that gives you Fibonacci resistance points, activities, etc. And we have a bunch of free things, totally free. We run on tips here, and you can ask me questions, suggest stocks, etc. It's a really nice community that has been growing up very fast at a very good rate, and it's totally free. If you would like to join that one, feel free to do so in the description below, and have a wonderful day.